be there in all 7 of the Gardner elementary schools, where we try to teach children how to recognize and resist and report any unwelcome touch. We have, the good news is we haven't had a lot of the children at the center for the interview and investigation process, but our records show that we have worked with 11 children since 2008. Thank you for that.
Well, and thank you for your good work. All right. Thank you. Next up, I'm wondering if we have any here from MOXA. I don't think so. Well, this is for Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Whereas, observed nationally since 2001, Sexual Assault Awareness Month is an annual campaign to raise public awareness about sexual assault and educate communities and individuals on how to prevent sexual violence. And whereas, among adult victims of rape, physical violence, and/or stalking by an intimate partner, 22.4% of women and 15% of men first experienced some form of partner violence between 11 and 17 years of age. And whereas the 2014 theme for Sexual Assault Awareness Month is "It's time to talk about it" and focus on healthy sexuality in young people, and whereas the City of Gardner strongly supports the efforts of national, state, and local partners and of every citizen to actively engage in public and private efforts to prevent sexual violence, it's time for all of us to take appropriate action and support one another to create a safer environment for all. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Chris Morrow, Mayor of the City of Gardner, Kansas, do hereby proclaim the month of April 2014 as Sexual Assault Awareness Month. With that being the case, we will be moving on with the agenda. And thank you so much for joining us this evening. We appreciate your attendance and all the fine work that you do to help support our community and our kids in our community. Next item is public comments. At this time, members of the public are welcome to come forward and make comments about city matters or items on the agenda that are not part of a public hearing. So if there's anyone in attendance that would like to make public comment, please step to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and be heard.
Hello, Council. My name is Rich Melton. I live at 521 East Hawthorne. Tonight, I'd like to really bring up something into Council. I don't know if any of you are even aware of what's going on. It's something that I think is deeply troubling to our representative republic, and I use that representative term. There is a council member who's moved out of town and is still on the council. I feel that that's kind of, you're not letting the folks here in the city be represented properly. If you live somewhere else, if you put your head down at night and you're in another town, you don't deserve to be serving the folks where you don't live with. I think this is a big issue, and I understand. I don't think there's anything currently in Gardner's, I guess, rules that prevent that. But I think that's something that the council should look at, and it should be changed. I think that, you know, there are plenty of people who are willing to serve here in Gardner who could do a great job, and they all live here in Gardner.
Okay.
Thank you, Council.
Thank you, Rich. Is there anybody else in attendance that would like to make public comment? With that being the case, we could move on to the consent agenda. Is there a council member that would like to remove an item from the consent agenda? I'd certainly entertain a motion.
I move we approve the consent agenda.
Second. Motion Harrison, second Freeman, that we approve the consent agenda. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Consent agenda passes. New business item number 1, consider adopting changes to the Gardner Municipal Code, Title 5, Chapter 5.05, Section 5.05.030, hawkers, peddlers, solicitors, vendors, and canvassing. Chief Collenberg, good evening.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. I bring before you an item for discussion tonight that we will basically give the opportunity to, or I will give you the opportunity to explain what changes have been made, what we're looking to do with the revision of this ordinance, and giving you the opportunity to ask questions or any concerns you might have about it, that we can come back later on and adopt it on a consent decree, something like that, because this does have to be adopted, from my understanding, by Mr. Dink, under an ordinance, so just so you're aware. What I did was, like spring and summer, a rite of passage in any community is solicitation and solicitors. Last year when I came here, we had some issues early on in July and August with solicitation in our city, where, quite honestly, they were just becoming quite a sore topic and presenting a problem to our local citizenry. At that time, I took the opportunity to review our hawkers and peddlers and solicitors or vendors statute, and saw really it was somewhat lacking in restrictions and what we allow and do not allow within our city. So what I did in cooperation, I spoke with City Administrator Cheryl Harrison Lee and said, you know, I'd really like to go through and look at this and update this a little bit, and in doing so, allow us to be a lot more proactive in how we handle solicitation within this city. Currently, as it stands right now, any individual can come into this city, get a business permit and solicit, and be on a sexual predator list. Any individual can come into this city and be convicted of a felony within the last 10 years, obtain a business license, and solicit. Any individual can kind of come in and walk across your yard, driveways, do whatever the case may be. They really have no recourse or action where they're held accountable for what they do. As it currently also stands, an individual can sell something door to door and not have to provide a receipt to you or for the individual who purchases the item. So what I did is I looked out and basically went through and really added some restrictions, as you can see here, that tighten up considerably on what we allow within our city. Who can solicit, when they can solicit, what the fees of that solicitation are going to be, what the fines are going to be. And really this, you know, might sound like it's a very insignificant thing, but what it is, it's a quality of life issue. You don't want to be bothered at, 9 o'clock in the evening on a Sunday by someone knocking on your door saying, I'm here to sell you magazines from Utica, New York. And if everyone is nice, as maybe we all like to believe people are, it would also be nice if when you told people to leave, they just left. However, we had more than one incident last year where individuals did go through when they were asked to leave, didn't leave. And it became an issue where we were called. Now, our city attorney pointed out on one page here, I make a strike, and the reason that strike is there is this went through Midwest Public Risk, their police legal advisor, who looked it over and said things look good, and right on section 5.05.041 definitions, canvas and canvassing. You can see where I struck the last two lines there. That was because I did a revision, submitted that to NPR and I discussed that. For city legal, we said, let's strike that, let's take that out. So actually, you're seeing an addition to a revision, if that makes sense. It does not apply to politics, city politicians, people running for council, anything along this line. So everyone is still free to go within the city and go out and solicit voting, talking to residents about what their positions and their stance is on certain city issues or certain city events. So, questions?
At this point, we would offer a chance for public comment regarding new business item number 1. If there's a member of the audience that would like to speak to new business item number 1, they could come forward, say their name and address.
I didn't understand what you meant about the striking and re-unstriking.
Okay, here, what I did was on the original one, I added this to the original, the bottom to the original.